Hi friends, welcome back to At Home with Holly. My name's Holly and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. So today we have some work to do. Sorry, turning off those lights. We have some work to do inside and outside. Inside, we have some work to do inside and outside. And inside, what we're going to do is we're going to plant up some Snapdragons. I was waiting for them to come in. My order came in. I'm about 2 weeks late, but that's okay. Better late than never. And then it is 70 degrees outside and it is beautiful. So I need to get outside and do some garden cleanup. I need to take the mulch away from around my garlic. You don't have to do this, but I bedded it really thick because we had some extreme temperatures. I added in an extra layer. So I want to get that cleared off so they have room to grow and groove. We are still going to get some freezing weather, but it's not going to be, it shouldn't be negatives. It should be right around freezing, maybe high 20s. And if it gets worse than that, I think the garlic can survive it. So I've been hardening off some of my cold weather crops. We're going to get those situated. And then I'm not sure how much I got done today. It's very noisy outside at my house right now, and it will be for the next like 3 months or more. There's an older school that they are tearing down, and so there's a demolition crew there from 7:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night every single day. So I'm going to try my best to not have that noise in the background, but if it's too noisy, then I'll just do a voiceover and talk you through what I'm doing. But hoping to get out there and enjoy this nice weather. So I do have to check on some of the flowers that we planted because I didn't check on my seedlings for 36 hours and a lot of them sprouted and I don't want them to get leggy. So here we go. Let's check on our progress. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh yes, definitely had some more germination. That's great. Okay, so we have a Cosmo. This is the Fizzy Rose, and I'm not worried about if they get a little bit of, fuzziness. That just wipes right off. So that germinated. I'm going to get that onto a different tray off the heat mat. We have some zinnias, some cosmos. These zinnias and cosmos, especially the cosmos, when they germinate, if you leave them on the heat mat for more than like 12 hours, they just shoot up and get extremely leggy. So I don't want them to do that. Once I see any green peeking through, I will pull them off. They don't really need a heat mat to germinate, honestly. So I just put them on there to get it done quicker, but you have to be able to pull them off because seedlings reach up to the light and they also try to get away from the heat. So if they're reaching up to the light and trying to get away from the heat, that's where you get that legginess for these. So, okay, we got another Cosmo. Anything that's germinated, I pull off. And then, yep, here's another one. And I put that on another tray and keep it rolling. Now they do dry out a lot faster. You can see how dry this is. They do dry out a lot faster on a heat mat as well. So I'll give, not these ones because these have been sprayed already, but I'm going to give these ones that are super dry just a little drink. Make sure that the seeds stay moist and they can keep growing. You don't need to saturate the soil a lot. I mean, it's just a fine balance. But we're going to get these guys tucked back in. And I'm checking these seedlings twice a day. Like I just checked these last night. And, oh, there's a little straw flower. He's way back in the back. I'm going to pull him out too. I just checked these last night and none of these had germinated. So this is all in the last 12 hours, less than 12 hours. So get these back and then get the next tray to look at. All right, so these are our tomatoes and some stock. A lot of our stock is already germinated, but there's still some more left on here. Like I said, as they germinate, I pull them off. Oh, that needs a top off. All right, let's get this tray filled. All right, so we're gonna do a 72 cell tray of Snapdragons and a little bit of basil as well. So I'm gonna get my soil prepared. I'm gonna fill up this 72 cell tray and then I'll meet you back here. So for this mix, I'm using the Pro Mix HP with mycorrhiza. I'm getting it pre-moistened. I am also adding in some Trifecta Plus, which is an organic slow release fertilizer from MI Gardener. The trays that I'm using are Bootstrap Farmer trays. So we're going to get all that soil ready and in the cells, and then I'm going to take a minute to put the different labels in so that I can keep it all straight and make sure that I'm not putting the wrong seeds in the wrong place. So once I'm all organized and we are set up to go, we're going to get planting. Okay, so we're going to do a quick fill up of just this one tray. I'm going to walk you through all the varieties that we're going to be planting today. So we're going to do a few herbs and then mostly Snapdragons because I love them. So I'm going to do some garlic chives. I want these to be good and started. If these get a little too big, that's okay. I'll just trim the tops and use them in my cooking. So I'm going to get some garlic chives started. If you've never had garlic chives, it's exactly what you think. It's a garlic flavored chive. So it's like onion and garlic in one thing. So good. And they dehydrate really well and all that kind of stuff. So garlic chives. We're going to do some Italian large leaf basil. I have completely eaten all of the roasted tomato basil soup that we made together. And I do have some jars of just plain tomato sauce. So like just unflavored tomato puree, basically. So I'm going to grow this. And if they get a little big, it's because it's a little early. I will use some in my tomato basil soup. Then I'm also going to be doing the blue spice basil. The pollinators really, really loved this last year, and I like to do basil blends with my dried herbs, so we're going to do that. And then some dark opal basil. I didn't love the flavor of this one as much, but I do think it's beautiful, so I like having this, and then I don't mind if it goes to seed for the pollinators. And then last herb is going to be some cinnamon basil. This one, I don't know that I really tasted the cinnamon flavor. I think if I made it into a tea, I would probably taste the basil flavor, the cinnamon flavor more. I think a lot of the herb, like the basils that are different flavor, like lemon basil, cinnamon basil, that kind of stuff, I think when you make them into teas, you really taste all the other notes, if that makes sense. And then let's get these planted and then I'll walk you through the Snapdragons. I'm going to go ahead and I'm not like trying to compact the soil, but I am trying to have a nice smooth surface for the seeds to make contact with. I'm not trying to jam it in there, just trying to flatten out the tops so that our seeds don't move around too much and they actually make good contact for good germination. Okie dokie. Now, let's get back to our garlic chives. Now these herbs that I'm planting, you should be planting these at about 6 weeks before your last frost date. I'm at about 7.5 weeks before my last frost date, so I'm definitely a little early. But these particular herbs, I'm okay with them getting larger inside. I wouldn't do this with like dill or something that's going to get huge, but I'm okay with these. Okay, let's talk about the Snapdragons that we're planting today. I'm going to be planting 2 from Baker Creek and 2 from MI Gardener. The first one is Black Prince. I just thought this was stunning. We're going to do the rose from M.I. Gardner. We're going to do the white from M.I. Gardner. I love having just a pure white of the Cosmos, the Snapdragons, the Zinnias, just something a little bit of contrast. It's just to have the pure white. And then I like to do white bouquets sometimes. So being able to gather Snapdragons, Zinnias, Cosmos, all those things and put them together, and marigolds in a white bouquet, I think is going to be really fun. So got the white Snapdragons. And then last but not least, this stunner, the cherry twist Snapdragon. I mean, look at this beautiful thing. So these should have been started. I think it's like 8 to 10. How many weeks? Yeah, 8 to 10 weeks before last frost. Like I said, it's 7.5 weeks. We're right on there. Could have planted them 2 weeks ago, but we're planting them today, so better late than never. So I'm going to get these into their little seed trays, get them watered in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I can't find my tweezers, so I normally would do tweezers for Snapdragons because their seeds are oh so tiny. They are microscopic. So, but I'm going to try to do 2 to 3 seeds per cell. So here we go. Black prints. All right, Snapdragons are planted. I'm going to put some soil on top of the herbs, but not on top of the Snapdragons because they are surface sown and the herbs are not. So I'm just going to lightly, gently put a little bit of soil on top of these herbs. Get these watered in, and I will put them on a heat mat. Okay, we'll get this cleaned up, put away. So these are our cold weather crops. These are cabbages, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and they are being evicted. They cannot be downstairs anymore, so I'm going to bring them outside and start to harden them off. So these are actually just going to sit right on here on my back step, and that's so that I could bring them in and out easier and I don't have to worry about it. So it's a gray, miserable day outside, which is the perfect day for hardening off plants. So if it was perfectly sunny, I would have to take them outside for like an hour in a shady spot and then bring them back inside. And then the next day, 2 hours, and then 3 hours, and keep going like that for a week. But on these gray overcast days, you can actually leave them outside all day long. So we have a stretch of a couple days here in a row and then one sunny and then back to this gray overcast situation. So this is the perfect time to harden off our brassicas. If for some reason they didn't survive this process, we do have the ones that we did the winter sowing with, so we still have those sprouting as a backup. But these are big and they need to get outside and really spread their roots and wings, if you will, and get to going. So for right now, we're going to leave these outside on the back step for a few more days. We have one more freeze in the forecast, and then once that's over, I will actually plant them in the ground. But I love this easier way of hardening off the plants. Okay, my friends, so this week is going a little different than I thought. It was absolutely beautiful the day that I filmed doing the Snapdragons. And so instead of doing any outside work, I spent the day outside with my kid and we had a great time. And now it's cold and I did not get to any of the garden projects, but that's okay because we have more time. So today, since it's chilly, it is about 7 weeks before my last frost date. And you can plant your peas outside directly in the garden. I usually do this as soon as you can work the soil. So 6 to 8 weeks, and they're a cold weather crop, and they will come up and be lovely. I also have a problem with birds and like mice or anything like that eating my pea seeds. So peas are one of those ones that you can start inside or you can start outside. If you start them inside, you do not want to keep them inside for very long because once their little tentacles grow up, they start wrapping on things because they're climbers. And if they wrap to each other and you untangle them and you snap those little tentacles, the pea plant won't keep going. So definitely something you can start inside if you're careful and don't let it go too long. So this year, I'm going to start them inside as an experiment to see whether I am going to be good about catching them before they get too far along. So we've got 2 varieties of peas that we're going to be starting this year for spring peas. They're snap peas. I really like snap peas, and the kids in the neighborhood like eating them off of my plants, and I love that. And so I like having garden snacks available so that when my daughter's outside playing and she has her little friends over, instead of coming inside and asking for like chips or stuff, I'm like, go eat peas, go eat whatever. And so I like having something sweet in the garden for them to snack on in the early spring since it's a little too early for melons or berries or anything. So, oh, well, maybe berries. Strawberries are like June, but still, this is something sweet. So anyway, the 2 varieties we're going to be planting today are Sweet Gem and Spring Blush. I've never planted this variety before, but this year this was a favorite of mine and Olivia's and the neighborhood kids. So you don't have to, but you can soak them overnight. I did not soak them overnight. I soaked them for a few hours. You don't even have to soak them at all. Just all things to help them speed up the germination process, right? So if you soak them overnight, they're more likely to sprout up quicker. If you start them inside, they're more likely to sprout up quicker. You can just plant them, the dry seed, outside in the ground 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, and they will come up if the birds don't get to them first. So I'm going to get a 32 cell tray filled up with potting soil. You guys just saw me do this with the Snapdragons, so put it a little quicker. I'll get these filled up and we'll take our peas and we're going to plant them in our little cells and we're going to watch them very carefully so that we can get them outside on time. So let me get these trays for this tray filled. So as you can tell, when I started off this week, I had one plan, and that was to sow some Snapdragons and then directly get outside. And plans changed, but I think it actually worked out for the better because I was able to really make sure I had my peas started really well so that they could be transplanted outside, my cold weather crops be hardened off so that at the end of this weekend, when I'm all done with my outdoor projects, I'm going to have plants that are ready to go in the ground and have their places ready to go. So it all worked out for the best. Well, my friends, okay, here we are. So I didn't label all of these trays. I just put a pink tag on the left side for the Spring Blush pea and a green or teal tag on the side for the Sweet Gem one. So we are going to get started. So I had these soaking. I could have soaked them for much longer. So I'm going to pour the water out. And then we've got our seeds, our peas, and we're just going to put 2 in each of these cells. Kind of tuck them in. Okay, I either just double planted them or didn't count out enough. Either way, we'll just stick 2 more in this last little cell. Okay, those are sweet gems. Done. Okay, now we'll do our spring blush. So now I have been hardening off our brassicas that are going to get planted out. Oh, I did it again. Guessing I miscounted. I'll grab two more. So I've been hardening off our brassicas because it's been cloudy for an overcast for the last few days. So we have one more freeze, not just frost, in the 10-day forecast. So I'm going to, I could just plant them out, and then there's only two left, so I'm going to put them in there. I could just plant them out and cover them with frost fabric, but I think I'm going to keep leaving them out all day and night until that night. I'll bring them in just that night and then plant them out the next morning, and they should be good to go. And then of course I will cover them with frost fabric if we get another freeze. This freeze on the forecast is supposed to get down to like 26, but all the rest of the evenings are in the 30s and 40s on the 10-day. So I think that's the last one, and it's coming up here pretty quick. We might get another one, and if so, I'll cover them. No big deal. And it's a risk to plant them out, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. We still have the ones that we did with the winter sowing, so if these fail or turn to mush from an extreme freeze, then we still have a backup. So, okay, get these last few pushed in, watered in, and then they'll be good to go. Here's the update on all of the seeds that are inside. We do have the tray outside of the brassicas that are going to be going out very soon for permanently, and that's going to be exciting. But inside we still have some awesome things growing. So let me catch up on what we got going on. So up top we have all of our peppers, and I just reorganized them so that they have the ones that need to not be shaded up front. So we have all our ones that are up front that are the littlest, and then all the biggest ones in the back. They will all catch up though. We have our tomatoes and cosmos and zinnias that have germinated. Over here we have catgrass, catgrass in a grow goo in the back. And then we have our sweet potato vines. Now we have, I think, 25 or 30 sweet potato vines that we grew on the actual sweet potatoes that we just planted in these pots, and we grew the slips. And then once they were tall enough, we snipped them and put them in this jar of water, which I keep changing out or adding to every few days, and then changing out once a week. And they are growing beautiful roots. So that is going to be exciting to plant out. We have our tray of parsley, zinnias, cosmos, and tomatoes that have not yet germinated. We have our tray of second round of strawberries. These are, I forget which kinds. They're not the alpine, but they're the other kind of yellow strawberries. So I'm excited about those. Up here we have our tray of snapdragons and basil and garlic chives that we started together. And down here we have some more strawberries and flowers that have germinated, some straw flowers, some rosemary, some stock. Down here we have violas, aster, and celery. Those are going to get hardened off after the big freeze, the last freeze, and put outside to, we're just going to go outside. It's going to be great. And then down here we have more cosmos and zinnias and baby's breath. And then over here we have our tray that we just planted of peas. And then we have our petunias that are growing beautifully and are going to go in our hanging baskets. We have our Yellow Wonder Alpine strawberries, a whole flat of those. And then up here we have our rudbeckia and shallots and onions, and they are all growing beautifully up here, getting ready to go outside as well. We'll be planting onions before you know it, and that's exciting. So that's an update. Oh wait, I've got potatoes too. So our potatoes doing beautifully. We began the process of chitting these potatoes together, and as you can see, they are looking beautiful. So those have about 2.5 more weeks before they go outside. I usually plant around April 1st, but when it gets closer, I'll look at the 10-day forecast and we'll kind of go from there. So yeah, we have got a ton of beautiful things growing inside our grow room. I want to say thank you so much for spending time with me today. We did not get the outside projects done, but we have a ton of outside projects. This weekend, I'm going to build another garden bed, and I will lay out some landscape fabric and move some stuff around, and I'll take you guys with me through that journey. I want to have an extra bed for strawberries. I'm going to do a little bit of reworking around the chicken coop because we are really wearing a pattern down in the grassy area around it. And so I want to just go ahead and get some pavers and some landscape fabric and some river rock and some perennial flowers and make it cute and not muddy. So I'm going to take you guys with me to do that. We're going to do the actual garlic bed clean out. We're going to plant our brassicas. We got a lot of stuff going on the next week, and I can't wait to do it with you guys. I want to thank you so much for all the likes and the comments and the shares. It really means so much to my family. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. We have a ton more growing, obviously, and gardening left to do. So I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye, my friends.